Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to come back to Italy and Sicily. In the end of the 80s, the Iron Curtain fall. You know, it was create tremendous changes around the world, and many people from East Europe start to escape to the western part of Europe. One of the places that people immigrate or escape was Albania, and most of them try to reach the Italian border. The Italian police were very nice and stopped all these ships that arrived from Albania, but they told them that sorry, you cannot stay here, but you're very lucky because the UN let you go wherever you want to go. And so they asked him, where do you want to go? All around the world, it's open for you. What do you think was the answer of the most people who escaped from Albania? Which places did all of them wanted to go? Any guess? So the place that most of them wanted to go is Dallas, Texas. I don't know if you know why, but during the 80s there was a TV series called Dallas. It's still they're trying to make it alive again, but many immigrants from Albania watch this TV series from illegal antennas, and it was very popular. For many years, I thought it's an urban legend. I mean, this thing is not true, but I did a research. I was in Dallas for 2 years lately. And I was surprised to see, there's a big community, Albanian community in Dallas, and most of them told me that it's really true. They really thought that it can be a great place, which it is. So if we're talking about the effect of media content on images and branding, I think it's a great story. During the last several years, I was involved in the research where we're trying to see how places brand themselves. I mean, what kind of strategies did they use, and if we can set up some characteristics which tell us where can you find if the project succeed or not. What we did, we didn't take irregular cases of branding. We took places that suffer from some kind of image crisis. We're trying to understand what places that suffer from stereotypes, places in the periphery, places in the marginal area of the world or the countries, even in the West, what do they do in order to overcome stereotypes surrounding them? You know, we have so much knowledge about media, about marketing, but we don't know. I mean, places which suffer from stereotypes are very quite challenged to change their image surrounding them. So, but as I said, and many places in Africa, in Europe, suffer from negative image. So what did they do? What kind of characteristics does a campaign need in order to be success? I think the knowledge we have about place branding started in most of it in northern England, where many industrial cities were trying to change their image and to turn into a cultural cities. Places like Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds are now in the middle of kind of process, but I think we have a lot of knowledge regarding these places and how to succeed in place branding. So what are the characteristics of successful territorial branding? What did we find? First of all, you need some kind of organization, some kind of marketing association that we call it the SIM, Strategic Image Management, which use research, which use strategy, indicator for success and failure, professional tools, use academic field. I felt that many PR professionals sometimes tend to say that it's too academic to do such a thing, but I think we discover that if you do use such a thing, such a tools, it's really the road for success. I think also we understand all around the world that the cosmetic works approach does not work. Lately, there's a tremendous thing happening around the world. Nigeria started a campaign, Good People, Great Nation. I don't know if you were exposed to this campaign, but for the first time, the PR people said, look, we cannot continue in this campaign. If you want really people to believe that something is happening in Nigeria, you have to change your product. It doesn't work anymore. Cosmetic is not the problem for serious image problem of the country. Branding establish priority. I think places all around the world understand that branding give you priority, tell you which product you start and which project not, which product to put on your priority. Existence of clear vision. I mean, places which saw that succeed in their mission understood that they understand that their image is right here, but they want to be there. But in order to be there, they need some kind of a vision. They need some kind of vision, and they need to know that they reached a vision using measurement or other tools in order to understand that they reached their goals. I think one of the things that also we discover in our research, which kind of places succeed in the branding, is of course 3 important things. It's leadership, leadership, leadership. I mean, you can use all the tricks and all the magic that you can do, but you need real leadership. And if you don't have this, I'm sorry to say, look on places like New York, which changed because of many, many things, but changed because maybe the great leader in the right time. Branding is a matter of cooperation between different stakeholders and local citizens. I think we discussed it earlier on this day, but there's no doubt that you need cooperation and mainly the local citizen. Places tend to ignore the importance of the local citizen, and this is very important. I don't know if you read, but lately the mayor of Florence, I think Matteo Renzi, started some kind of initiative of listening to the people, listening to the common man, and ask them what's with the future of the city. How can you help us in branding the city in a better way? And I read it that it's really working. Leaders also understand, or local system has to understand that branding costs money. They need to allocate money, and it's all a matter of how much you're going to invest in order to get some success. Branding is holistic. I mean, also the international experience show that it's not a matter of changing just the logo or the slogans or the colors or the visual. It's not that. You have to change your product. You have to work and make sure that your product really supplies the promise that it's included in your promise as a brand. And here are some examples of, and you have to change everything in the city. If you decided that you want to brand your city as a place for sport, for example, of course you need to change the garbage pail. You have to offer restaurants that support your branding. You have to hotels, any initiative, any visual, and of course others. But you need to work on, and it's not something that it's just one thing. You have to make the whole city send the same message in every public space. The role of PR, well, as we know, and we also discussed it, the role of PR is very essential in territorial branding. In addition, of course, to promotion, advertising, commercial proposal, social media, new media, everything, but PR is just one part of the whole effort to change. And it's obvious that you need to use proactive PR. I mean, you have to, not just reactive, and you have to organize events and organize a lot of important things in order to strengthen the chosen branding. And I think as PR practitioner, we know that really use of PR during takeoff don't use public relations after crisis. Many leaders tend to use us as practitioner in public relations after the crisis happened and try to use it as a damage control. But it's obvious that it's much more complicated than that. If you use public relations before the crisis of thing, the damage, the image restoration after the crisis will be much, much more easier. And of course, there's a lot of knowledge in crisis management and public relation and PR crisis that many of us can use, and of course use it in order to help leaders. Strategic public relation in the US, and many other places, it became the big thing. Using academic tools, strategic public relation, it's very, very important. Public relation, it's not just press release, it's much more than that. You have to analyze as practitioner at the analysis of the coverage and the public image of your country, of your territory, to understand why people have negative or positive image about your place and how can you cope with that. Nevertheless, it's turned out to be that territorial characteristics it's I mean, to market a place for public relation practitioner, it's a challenge. Public relation want to send press release on every subject that is related to the city or to the country, but it turned out to be that it's a real challenge for public relation in order to concentrate only on one characteristic that is part of the new branding of the city. One of the last things is that branding takes time. There's no magic here, as I said in the beginning. If you want a real change in your image, you need to use, and it's going to take some time, 4 to 6 years, but it's well worth it. I mean, look at Cleveland. Cleveland has gone through 6 times of branding effort, but they understood that, again, it's not magic. Only now that they decided to start from scratch, start from the beginning, and there are some results. And
Eli.
Yes. If you want, thank you. If you want more details, you're welcome to look. We analyze our research in the book on your right. Have some teaching presentation. If you want more information about it, I have some teaching presentation. You can always email me. I can send you more. So thank you very much.
Just stay. So just a question. When you say the role of PR as a proactive role, what really you mean?
I mean, you don't have to wait that the media is going to blame you for something, or the media is going to write negative story about the place. I mean, if you believe and you have, if you have a local narrative, and the PR can use and enhance and promote this narrative in a different kind of events, different kind of reports, different kind of initiative.
Okay. My question is, who writes the narrative?
Okay, that's when I started with the strategic image management. We realized that if you really want to succeed, you have to create this body, a body that use public relation people, local people, the tourism industry people, of course, the mayor or his representative, government actors. It's some kind of a group that works together to promote the idea.
Okay.